What's up, YouTube? Today, I want to talk about depression. I know this is, in many circles, considered a taboo topic. It's certainly not something that you would use as a conversation starter or as a way to catch up with somebody. But if we're being honest, I believe that honesty is important. And that's why I'm making this video to share the most intense depressive episode that I personally ever experienced. I'm going to talk about details as far as how long it went on, what were the contributing factors to this. I'm also going to share the coping mechanisms that I utilized in order to persist through this episode. And then I want to just conclude with a personal message of, I think, insights we can extract from my story that could possibly be applied to your own stories and experiences. So, to start off, I suffered from a 6 month long bipolar manic episode from October of 2021 to March of 2022. This was during my junior year of university and in the months following that semester that I had in the fall. But essentially, what resulted in the aftermath of this manic episode was a variety of consequences. I lost many relationships, I lost multiple jobs, I lost my education, and a years long recovery process was essentially initiated. Coming out of it right away, I experienced great deals of fear, doubt, shame, uncertainty about my future. And I believe that it's pretty reasonable to understand how and why I experience these things. Because bipolar mania can be so over the top, it can be so extraordinary, and you do and say, at least in my case, a bunch of irrational and nonsensical things, which in the aftermath and hindsight, with those 2020 glasses, starts to strike a chord with you. And so, because of that manic episode, this was the most intense depression I've ever experienced, the worst I ever felt. I experienced negative self talk to a significant degree. I can't believe I said this. I can't believe I did that. I should be ashamed of myself. I have no self worth. I experienced hopelessness. This idea that there's no possibility or prospect for a brighter future because of what I went through. I felt so guilty about what I went through. And I had a tremendous lack of purpose. Why do I wake up in the morning? I have nothing to look forward to. What am I supposed to do in the aftermath of this manic episode? I lost control of my central command center. That's rather significant. And as a result of that, I did a myriad of things that are totally antithetical to my character of who I am. That's why I often say a part of me died when I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. The manic episode with the subsequent depressive episode, two of these things in conjunction took a massive toll on my well being and my identity and my perception of my own self worth. The problems were also physical, though. They just weren't these mental ideas. I also experienced a lot of fatigue, and the reason for the fatigue could be attributed to the weight gain that I experienced. I had a lot of medication trial and error. I remember I went on an antipsychotic to pull me out of the mania, and it worked. But I didn't stay on it in the long term. I ended up having to adjust and switch to a number of different medications from lithium, Latuda, to the four that I'm on now, which are, I don't know if you can hear those sirens outside. I'm sorry if you can. I'm not sure what's going on out there. But if I need to remake this video, I will. Or maybe it just adds to the reality of the world we live in. I don't know. But this couldn't happen at a more unfortunate time. So I had this medication trial and error, and I lost a lot of hope because of that medication trial and error. Each time I had a medication that didn't work, that didn't do its job, I felt like, well, this is just yet another example of how I'm a failure. This is just another example of how it's impossible for me to get better. And what made this so difficult is I wanted to be better. I wanted to get better. But it felt like everything was out of my control, that it was beyond the realm of what I'm capable of initiating any change myself. And so, as a result of this depression, I had to devise mechanisms to actually deal with this depression. And I used a variety of different things. And one thing that started to really help me was taking a bath. It helped with reducing negative self talk and diminishing the level of racing thoughts that I felt. I also started going for short walks. Just the tranquility of walking also helped a great deal. And light reading to escape from my present situation and remind me that there's other people who've gone through similar situations, and there's people who've persisted through obstacles and have gotten to a better place even after being at the abyss of despair and rock bottom. And I think that's motivating. Journaling helped me put things in perspective, get my thoughts on paper, and try to think about them more rationally. So, a lot of these emotional thoughts I was having, journaling helped me process them. And it's also fascinating to be able to document your own journey. And many years from now, I could look back at this moment and see exactly how I was feeling on this particular day or any other given day because of the journaling that I do. A huge thing for me was developing routines. And I have some videos where I talk about routines. And some of them were made while I was in a moderate depressive state. You see, I went from a severe depression that I experienced from March 2022 to December 2023. And then since then to the present moment, I've kind of had fluctuations between light and moderate, on even the higher moderate end as of more recently. But I feel like I have better coping mechanisms now. And one of them that I use is actually this very YouTube channel. For me, it first started off with the George Carlin reaction videos that I made during this depression. And I remember laughing for the first time in what felt like an eternity. And for some reason, watching this made me want to do more. And I took this gradualist approach of improving each and every day. Eventually, the social isolation, I couldn't take any more of it. I needed that sense of belonging. I needed that sense of peer approval and social connection. So the plan that I had devised, kind of a spur of the moment, epiphany moment, was I'm going to go outside early in the morning. I'm talking like 4:30 a.m. and I'm going to get a coffee from Honeydew. And that was my win for the day. And that's a piece of advice that I want to provide all of you. But before I get to that, just a couple more things that helped in addition to the YouTube channel as far as routines go. And that was going to the gym. Now, my gym attendance has been very inconsistent. I have these moments, these blocks of time where I attend very consistently, and I'm talking 4 to 7 times a week for a month and a half straight. But then I have these extended periods of time, sometimes months long, where I don't go at all. But I feel at my best during those blocks of time where I am when I am going to the gym. Another huge thing that helped me with routines was actually getting a job at one point, and the future possibility of going to school, the hope of going back to school. That my life wasn't over because I got kicked out of one due to decisions made during mania. But the job gave me something to look forward to. I set goals for savings. I set goals for advancement in the company. I set goals for the number of positive, kind things I would do for customers at a given day. On the micro and macro level, I was assigning goals to myself for me to devote my attention to. And I assiduously worked towards achieving each and every one of those goals. And it just gave me something, I already said this, but to look forward to. Sense of purpose that was missing for so long. I finally had it again. So the thoughts I want to leave you with, what I feel like we can draw from my experience is I want you to understand the importance of development of routines. It helps you feel more purposeful. I feel like it helps with kind of the fatigue, and when you have routines, I think it could help you be more consistent in your sleeping patterns. Having routines, depending on what they are, could help you deal with social isolation. Just on so many fronts, development of routines can help. And then a more general piece of advice is small wins add up to become big wins. Small changes add up to become big changes. Small gains add up to become big gains. So what you want to do is apply yourselves on these small goals and achieve these small goals to build momentum. And eventually, with time, you'll be setting bigger goals, you'll be setting more goals, and you'll be achieving more goals. And each goal you achieve, regardless of how large or how minuscule, is going to build upon the momentum that you have and help you get to a better place. If you're going through depression, I want you to know that you are not alone. Thank you all for watching. Love, light, and tranquility to all.